Welcome back to our YouTube channel. For today's video, we are going to be talking about some of the things we still struggle with today, emotionally and mentally. So stay tuned. Go.
So I would say doing this video for me is not easy. It doesn't come easy for me. When it comes to being vulnerable, it's a little hard for me to bring down my walls and being like, these are the things I struggle with. It's very easy for me to talk to my sister about it and have this full-on hours conversation about it. I could do that. Now this is a different setting. This is putting that out there in the world and being like, hey world, this is what I struggle with. And it might not seem like a lot, it might seem minimal, but to me, it does mean a lot. Drinking, and I'm not talking about like binge drinking, but just drinking on stressful days. I learned a lot of good coping skills when I was in therapy to learn how to handle different situations, but I feel like a little after my divorce, the circumstances changed a lot, and I had to learn how to deal with new situations, new feelings, and shortly after that I fell into kind of drinking on a daily basis. In the beginning I didn't really realize it up until a little later on. I was like, I'm really drinking every day. And then I really started thinking about it. I'm like, is this a problem? Things need to change. Even just trying to bring it up, I would just be like, it felt so shameful. But at this point, I'm not ashamed of it. I could talk about it. I'm like, it happened. It happened shortly after the divorce. And that was just the way I learned how to cope. I wanted to be able to use a different coping mechanism instead of just drinking. Which wasn't easy, because it was just the first thing that came to my mind.
So when did you realize like you hit rock bottom with drinking?
When I got into trouble. I won't go into too many details about it, but it got me into trouble, and that was a big eye-opener for me to be like, it went too far.
Why don't you want to talk about what happened?
I would say I don't want to talk about it because I feel like there's still some shame behind it, and I feel like just still working through that, hopefully I'm just able to talk about it all just one day and just be very open and honest about it today. Just not today. I would say another thing I struggle with is sometimes self-sabotage. There's been some things that I've had lined up for me in my career that I just messed up, or just I completely gave up and was like, fuck it. And one of those things happens to be my attendance. There was a few instances where I had maybe 2 promotions that came up for me, and I really wanted them, but the thing that hurt me the most was my attendance. And it would get me down a lot, and I would just be so hard on myself and be like, you know, we could have done better. But I think what I stopped to realize is the things I was going through at that time. So I would say the things that I would do to mess up these opportunities that would come for me up for work were just missing. And missing is a big thing when it comes up to promotions. And I feel like I would come up with a million excuses why I didn't want to go. Either I wasn't feeling well, I had things to take care of. I think for me, I've been there also a long time too. It's just easy to be like...
What's a long time?
More than 10 years, a little bit over 10 years. It's easy to just give up. It's easy to come up with an excuse. And I used to be really hard on myself when I wouldn't get these opportunities that I really wanted. But I think now I really learned to stop myself and be like, you know, we worked so hard to come so far, we could keep going. I think before I was very careless. I really didn't care, and I think now it's just kind of like tomorrow's a new day and we don't have to be so hard on ourselves. The things that I've started doing more to help me when I'm not having such a good day is meditating. Meditating has really helped me a lot. I could do a quick 20, maybe 30-minute session with meditation, and it just changes my mood a lot. I'm able to relax. I'm able to clear my mind, and I feel like I go from being at a very high stress state to being a very calm state. And I feel like I need to do that for myself, because then everyone around me is gonna feel that tension, that anger, that stress. And I don't really like to bring that, so I am really quick to be like, give me some time, let me just calm down, let me do this real quick, and that really helps. I've also learned to start journaling again. I feel like there's certain times at work or maybe at home that I'm not feeling well, and I've learned that writing how I feel really has helped me out a lot. Also just staying busy with things that I like to do, like anything creative, drawing, learning something new, doing origami, reading a book. Those things are really good distractions for me from the things that I could be quick to fall to.
I feel like for me, my journey has been a little different in the sense that, like, after I went to therapy consistently for 3 years, I feel like it was really useful for me to learn coping mechanisms, which I think were a really important and crucial part of just going to therapy in general. But I also think that one of the biggest things for me was learning what I was going through, and I don't think that that's something that I understood at the time. Like, hey, you're going through this because this happened to you, because this happened to you, because this happened to you. And I think that just understanding that just took a really huge load off of me. Like, okay, I'm not crazy. What I'm doing is not out of the ordinary. It's just it's a side effect of, you know, my childhood and just some of the things I've experienced in my life. So I think that for me gives me a lot of like just relief and satisfaction to know and to understand that there is, you know, cause and effect going on. But I think some of the things I still struggle with, I feel like they're more like on a surface level, to be honest. Like, I feel like I can have really bad days just emotionally. Like, one of the things that I still struggle with, I think just since therapy, is just like I'm really hard on myself. Like, and that's just more like me internally, like self-talk, like, you know, I'm not doing enough, I don't work hard enough, it's not enough that I did X, Y, and Z, it's not enough that, you know, I'm going to school for my master's, like there should be more. So I just think like overall, it just puts a lot of pressure on me to like be like, well, what's next, or I should be doing more, and, you know, and not giving myself enough credit for the things that I have done. And I think that also bleeds a lot into like being a good mom and being there and being like emotionally supportive for my son. And I think it's like I question myself and I doubt myself a lot, like, well, am I a good mother? Like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, or more like take away from the things that I want to do, because then I'm like, at times it makes me feel guilty, like I shouldn't be doing this, or
Like what though?
like I think it's like different things, like when I'm taking time to myself, whether it's like meditating or like being out during the day, or even going out at night, or hanging out with friends. Like, I think I still have moments where I feel guilty. I could snap out of that a little quicker, but it doesn't mean that I still don't feel guilty at times. So yeah, so that's one of the things that I still struggle with, is being hard on myself. I've gotten a lot better with it, but I notice at times it's really daunting. The other thing is, like, I think it's just kind of like negative self-talk, and I think that that's just like one of those things that I feel like I'm constantly have to work on. I feel like it just kind of comes from my childhood, and although I've gotten better with that too, I think I could be very pessimistic. And instead of looking at the bright side of things and being like, no, everything's gonna be okay, or, you know, at times, I'm just like, oh no, that sucks, or that's stupid, or, you know, instead of being like, look at the positive side of things. And I think what affects that even more is like my mood. Like if I'm already having a bad day, and then it's easier for my mind just to be like, I told you that sucks.
Oh.
You know?
So to go negative instead of trying to be like...
Yeah, instead of like turning it around and be like, okay, well, let's look at the positive side of things.
Yeah.
So I really work on that though. Like I feel like that really does change the way I feel overall, my state of mind, because it's like, well, if you're in a bad mood, everybody else is gonna feel it. It's like an earthquake, right? Everybody else that I live with is gonna feel it too, and that sucks. You know, nobody wants to be around somebody who's fucking moody and upset or
irritated.
Yeah.
Or you can't tell them anything because they're like, what do you want? And you're just like, whoa, okay.
I would say the last thing I struggle with is I punish myself at times, you know, without really noticing it. And I feel like I've noticed that recently, like, I just kind of like self-punish myself for things that I'm like, well, I haven't been that great of a person, so why should I do things that make me feel good? And I feel like it's more just kind of like a constant just growth on the day-to-day, right? Like, what are some of the things that you want to change? What are some of the things that you want to improve? Like, what are some of the ways that you want to become a better person?
And what do you do to cope when you're not doing so well?
I think the first thing I do, or I try to do, is like, I'll try to meditate at least every other day. Meditate. Incense definitely shifts my mood. I love incense. Running definitely is a shift in my mood. Being outside. Going for a walk maybe. Probably mostly running. I don't walk. I run. I think just like leaving the house sometimes and just being out. Like even if it's just to go to the liquor store or just to like, but just like leaving the house if that's where I feel the most stress.
Do you do it right away? Are you quick to stop yourself and be like, oh wow, let me, you know, try to change this? Or do you think you catch yourself now a little quicker?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think before, I don't think I knew that that's what it was. Like I didn't know that that's what I was doing to myself until like I went to therapy. And I feel like now, yeah, I can catch myself a lot quicker. And it's just like trading. It takes a lot of like mental work. It's like trading like all the bad things you just told yourself and be like, no, like, you know, what are some good things you can say about yourself? And I think when I can't think of anything good to say to myself, I'll just say like, I'm just thankful for everything that I have. Yeah. You know? I'm thankful for where I live and for my family, and I think that that makes me feel good. That's usually a really good feeling. It's just being thankful when I can't say anything else nice to myself.
Well, whatever works, right?
Thank you for watching this video. We hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully you've taken something that's been useful from this video, or if you can relate, please share your stories with us. We'd love to hear them. Don't forget to like, subscribe. See you in our next video. Bye.